Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Small Town Nerdcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy, your comics guy, and today got, I want to say, a pretty, not heavy episode, but there's a lot to it this week, and surprisingly, I've had some things that I just wanted to talk about this week. Last week, and also, I'm feeling a lot better than I was last week. I think last week, feeling kind of sick, so, of course, when you're not feeling great, don't really want to talk all that much, but this week, feeling a lot better, so yay! I got some nifty nerd news and maybe an interesting fact that you didn't know about an urban legend that you may have not known was an urban legend. And then we're going to talk about some Spider-Man, because finally, Nick Spencer's run has got to what I believe is the whole point of this run. I know in an interview we've said that his Kraven the Hunter story was the reason, like the pitch that he gave to get the run of Amazing Spider-Man back in 2018. But where he's here in the story in 2020, I feel like this is what everything was truly building to. And I mean, when you read, hit the mic. When you read this comic, this run on Amazing Spider-Man from Nick Spencer, he's laying the breadcrumbs and when I say laying the breadcrumbs, I mean he's slapping you in the face with a fucking loaf of bread kind of breadcrumbs. And finally all the dividends pay off in these issues 44 through 57. And it was so big I had to write notes on it, that way I could remember a lot of it, because I mean we're covering a lot of issues here. 44 through 57 is like 13 issues, and plus within the second half, the 50 through 57 issues, there are side stories that are a part of the main storyline, like 50, 50.1, 51, 51.1, 52, 52.1. So it's kind of like that, but it all works out in the end, man. I'm gonna really shorten down the story though, so you guys can kind of get a feel on it. But before we get into the review of The Amazing Spider-Man, let's talk about some of the nifty nerd news that I had for you guys this week. Mainly, number one on my list of things to talk about was Netflix, because, of course, Netflix is kind of not everyone's best friend right now, and that they're starting soon to roll out their crackdown on password sharing. Well, let's face it, how many of us truly own our Netflix accounts? I mean, maybe not us in particularly who don't own it, but I don't know anyone who is not, at least if they are not getting it from someone else, they are sharing it with another friend. And I can't tell you, how many people I have heard of, not me included, because I would never do anything like that, Netflix. I had to stop myself there. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest, man, like, my Netflix, my Hulu, Disney, Crunchyroll, Paramount, Peacock, like pretty much every streaming service that I have. And then like even between me and my wife with other, like I think we have YouTube Premium and Spotify Premium. Like we have a bunch of streaming stuff that we pay for. But like either it's between me and my wife who are sharing, but we're in the same household, so that doesn't really count from Netflix point of view. But like family members, friends, like we all share these things because one, that's what the good Lord wanted, is share with thy neighbor. And why would Netflix be the devil? I'm saying it. Netflix hates God because God wants us to share with everyone. And Netflix says, no, be evil, be money hungry, which is really what they are. And like, let's face it, like, let's be honest with you. A lot of the people who may delete Netflix or discontinue their account, they'll be back. It's just like that, from Alexander Hamilton. They'll be back. Because let's face it, I mean, there's a lot of good content on Netflix. Now, And, for a point there, I was really contemplating getting rid of Netflix because I thought, like, what am I watching on Netflix? And then I remember my wife is addicted to K-drama. There's actually a couple of anime on there that I cannot get on Crunchyroll that I'm really enjoying. So it's somehow wiggled its way into my life. And it, like, I don't know, man. It's frustrating, but at the same time, like, I get what Netflix is trying to do. They're trying to, increase profits. And they're thinking getting rid of these people who are not contributing to their financial success or their goals or whatever you want to call it. They quote unquote say they're trying to nudge them to doing the right thing. Well, like getting their own Netflix accounts and stuff. But I honestly think the people who are doing it for free were probably only doing it because it was free. You may get a few people, but you're gonna I honestly feel like there's gonna be no change here. Like, you're not gonna see a huge increase in number. You're not gonna see a huge decrease in number. What you're just gonna see is maybe less maybe less TVs, or maybe people are just gonna start moving in with each other so that way they can get around. Because let's be honest, humans in their quest to do anything for cheaper or less will go to extreme lengths. I mean, that's why I'm married, so that way we could just keep our Netflix and not have to like, oh, the marriage rate in the United States has skyrocketed after Netflix's password sharing programs have gone into effect. Anyway, moving on from one evil corporation to the next, AMC has released their premium ticket layout, so that way you can see it and judge it and be upset by it. But it looks like the plan here for AMC theaters is to make everything that's in the middle, like not just the middle rows, but middle columns too. So like this square dead center in the middle of their theater will be the preferred, what they're calling sight lines. So basically it's easier to see the movie from these seats and stuff like that. Honestly, when I think about where I like to sit in theaters due to COVID and, other pandemic and sicknesses, I typically now sit closer to the outsides, like never in the middle because I don't want to be surrounded. So I'm always looking for like aisle seats and things like that. Try, keep one area open kind of thing. So if I was going by my standards, I still would be in the standard sight line, which means I pay a regular price. Preferred sightline is going to be $2 extra based on this information, and the value sightline, meaning the sucky seats, excuse me, which based on this image that I've looked at is just the front row because it's closest to the screen. I think it should be I don't know, when you go into a theater, they have like this open row that you can walk across to get to the other side, and then there's seats to the left of you that are, depending on what side, there's seats that are divided up closer to the screen. I feel like all those seats should be the value sight line, because even when you're the furthest back in the up front row, you're still really freaking close, like lean back in your chair, staring up, and it sucks. Your neck's gonna, like, they should be paying for my medical bills. Like, with every ticket to an AMC upfront value sightline seating, you should get a free chiropractic appointment. Like, that's what they should do. That would be more valuable than just $2 off, because the pain involved. I wonder if I could somehow get movies written off on my medical for these reasons. But like, I get what they're doing, and like, I just don't agree with it, man. But at the same time, like, I mean, I've felt that. I've felt that struggle in a theater. Like, some seats are better than others, and having these preferred seating is, like, what you want. But like, that's typically how you get around it, is with how they normally do it now, is you get to pick your seats. It's not general admission like it used to be back in my day. Like, when I was in high school, and even younger, well, definitely younger, but like when I was in high school, I guess I'm my oldest, then when I can remember going to theaters a lot, it was just general admission, man. You just bought your ticket, and it was first come, first serve into the theater. And I mean, I was in like my small town's theater back then was not like the theaters of today, where it's a super massive screen. I mean, it was a large screen, but like the front row was far enough back where it wasn't like freaking murder on your neck. Now it's like they cram as close as possible nowadays. And it sucks. Like, so I thought allowing people to choose their seats, so making it a first come first serve thing, was a great idea, and it helped, still kind of keep prices fair and people happy, because if you really wanted a movie, you just schedule what movie you wanted to see well in advance when, finally no one was sitting in the seat that you wanted. Now I feel like those middle seats are going to be not taken as quickly. I feel like you're going to get like still the middle section, but the outside columns, which are not preferred seating, which are still standard, but they're just far enough to not be in the center of the movie screen. Like those are going to go first. I feel like just those rows are going to, or aisles or whatever the hell you want to call the vertical, the vertical portion of it. We'll have to see, man. AMC's trying something new, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Moving on to less frustrating news. Excuse me, man. Guess maybe the sickness is not all the way out of my system. Viola Davis has earned her ERCOT. And if you don't know, or ERGOT, sorry, ERCOT is a park in Disney World. Or Epcot is. ERCOT is the electricity thing in Texas. Sorry. I'm all kind of... ERGOT stands for Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. Viola Davis becomes the most recent person with her 2023, this year, Grammy to have completed an EGOT status. Did I say ERGOT again? I meant EGOT. Which is kind of a big deal, man. It puts her in a class among very few people, 18 people to be exact, who have won EGOTs. Now, along with that list, there's another 5 people who have gotten non-competitive EGOTs. So meaning they've won some of these awards, but some of them, to get them the EGOT status, were non-competitive awards, like maybe a special Tony, a lifetime achievement, like those kind of things. And that's how the list gets a little bit bigger from 18 to 19, 20, 21 to 23 people. But there's some, I'll list you off the names. Some of these people I don't even know. But you have Richard Rogers, who completed his in 1962, Helen Hayes in 77, Rita Moreno, who completed hers in 77, John Gielgud, who completed his in 91, Audrey Hepburn, who I've seen pictures of, in 1994, Marvin Hamlish in 95, Jonathan Tunick in 97, Mel Brooks got his in 2001. I'm a fan of his movies. Mike Nichols in 2001, Whoopi Goldberg got hers in 2002. Scott Rudin in 2012, Robert Lopez 2014, Andrew Lloyd Webber in 2018, Tim Rice in 2018, John Legend got his in 2018, Alan Menken 2020, Jennifer Hudson got one in 2022, and Viola Davis in 2023. The non-competitive ones has quite a few more names that you might know. Barbara Streisand, who completed hers in 1970, Lisa Minnelli, who got hers in 1990, James Earl Jones in 2011, Harry Belafonte, who got his in 2014, and Quincy Jones, who got his in 2016, got his EGOT status in there. And it ranges from a whole bunch of people, from actors to singers, directors, composers. There's a lot of composers on here, but I guess that makes sense, because composers make music for movies, films, songs. So, they really have, I would think, after thinking about that, composers honestly have the highest chance to getting EGOTs, because what they do can be put in so many of these award categories, so it kind of gives them almost an unfair advantage. But you have quite a bit of actors and actresses on this list as well, so it's a pretty cool thing, man. And if you go over to Wikipedia, you can look at all this and you can see the age of completion. Let's see, who's the youngest here? Oh, the oldest, man, might be Mel Brooks. Let's see when. No, he was 74, not even the oldest. 87 for John Gielgud, who was an actor-director. Wow. Excuse me. I think 87 is the oldest on here. Good for him. But who is the youngest? That is the question. 40-year-old. Jennifer Hudson was 40 when she got her EGOT, and that might put her at the youngest. It does. That's pretty cool, pretty interesting. They even keep track of like how long it took from their first award to their last award. Some were only 10 years. That was Robert Lopez, a composer, who got his EGOT. His first award was in 2004, and his last award was in 2014. You have some that span a long-ass time, 45 years here for Helen Hayes. Got her first award in 1932, and her last award in 1977. And she was 76 years old when she got it. I don't know. I just found that kind of interesting. I thought that was really cool. Barbra Streisand actually has a shorter year span for the non-competitive EGOT. Only 6 years it took her to get it. But this starts back 1964 to 1970. Jesus, that's a quick time. That's a lifetime. Like, not even a life, but like, that's a short time is what I meant. I don't know why I said lifetime. That kind of impressive. Like that's like you peaking though. Like, and let's be honest. Like, where has she got? I don't know. I've gotten way off. The main topic is Viola Davis got an EGOT, and we're excited for her. What did she get her last? She got her Grammy for Best Audiobook Narration and Storytelling, following her Tony. Oh no, she got a Tony win. So what was the book that she did? I don't know. I don't see it here in the thing. Doesn't matter. So basically, I didn't even know you could get a Grammy for doing audiobooks, but I guess you can. So cool on her for that. Moving on to one of the last bit of nifty nerd news that we have here. And I bring this up. I don't know how many people have actually watched this show or any of these two shows that we're going to talk about, but I really like one of these shows, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. So CBS is going to be canceling the Late Late Show with James Corden. James Corden, pretty funny guy. I like watching his YouTube stuff, like carpool karaoke and things like that. I've always found that really funny. But the Late Late Show, not so much. Like, that's not been my thing. But we've heard, there's a rumor that they're going to be rebooting Comedy Central's At Midnight to play on CBS in the same time frame, which is like 12:30 in the morning. So, you know, where no one way early in the morning or late at night, whatever you want to call it, 12:30. Now, I loved At Midnight. When it was on Comedy Central, I could not get enough of this show. It was hilarious. I know things with Chris Hardwick have been kind of rocky and some allegations put against him and things like that, but I gotta be honest, man, like, that show was straight fire. It was hilarious. It was funny. It was up to the times. It was definitely my type of humor, memes and internet tomfoolery. I was a huge fan of that. So you should, if you don't even know about the show At Midnight, it's like the at sign. What is it? What is that at sign? Is there an actual name for at signs? I don't know. The A with the circle around it. Like, when you're following, like, obviously if you're listening to this podcast, you know what an at sign is. I'm trying to explain this for your parents who are also listening to this. But yeah, so At Midnight, check it out on YouTube. I'm man, if they don't have a TikTok, I'm gonna be really upset, and I'm not gonna check it right now because I'm recording with you guys. But it's a fantastic show. I was sad to see it go, but it had a lot to do with the allegations against Chris Hardwick. Hopefully, I don't even remember what happened out of that. Like, I know he stopped hosting, but I don't know. I don't think it was taken any further than that now that I think about it. And I don't know if it's because it's still in litigation or what's been going on with that. Actually, you know what? We're just going to do a quick little search right now. So hold on to your whatever. Just hang on there. Let's see. Is there any news? Okay, talk about the Late Late Show, Late Late Show, Late Late Show, Mark Maron. No, don't even care. Look at that, man. They don't even talk anything. I guess nothing came out of it. Maybe the person lied, or maybe it was a misunderstanding. Who knows, man? But I don't see anything about it. I remember he was dropped by like whatever podcast that he was doing. I used to enjoy listening to. it was a thing, man. It was a whole process. But if they're looking for a host, no better than this guy. But then that might bring up shit again. But who knows? I enjoyed him as a host, and I thought it was a really funny show. Hopefully, they can bring back the band and start all over again. Who knows? But that's it for the Nifty Nerd News, guys. Before we get into the comic book reviews, I did want to share one bit of nifty information for you guys. I don't know if you ever heard this and why. Maybe you've been told this as a child growing up. But I always remembered, I thought it was weird when weddings stopped throwing rice. Like they're coming out, yay, bride and groom, groom and groom, bride and bride, people and people. And you throw the rice because like you bathe them in little tiny painful pellets. Like that was kind of like the thing or whatever. And then people stopped doing it. And I remember I always was told the reason that you couldn't do that anymore is because birds would eat the raw rice and then they would go drink water and then the rice would expand in their stomachs and then you'd have a bunch of birds just exploding all over the place. And that was awful and terrible. Well, as it turns out, that's an urban legend. Birds can actually eat raw rice and eat a lot of it, and they're not going to explode like that. That's not what birds do. Now, Coke and Mentos, different story. But apparently it was like a 1996 urban legend that just spread everywhere. And where I think it truly came from is wedding venues were just fed up with all the fucking rice. Like they were just like, we have had enough. I am tired of this. I don't want it anymore. So we're going to tell everyone something horrible happens when you throw it. Like, you tell a little kid that, like, if you don't brush your teeth tonight, your teeth will die. Like, your face will explode. Like, that's the kind of the fun little lies you tell your children. If you don't pick up your room, your father will leave. No. I'm sorry. That was a little too mean. It hurt. But that's truly where this shit came from. And it's kind of funny, like, to think about it. Like, just like one of these little parent lies that just went way too wrong. The whole world believed you. And now you just gotta kind of have to live with this lie that you started. But, like, you did it for good reasons. You did it because you didn't want to clean up a lot of shit and things like that. And, come on. Really? Like, you don't care that, the groomsmen are in the bathroom vomiting their fucking, like, lungs out or their stomachs out. But birdseed. Goddamn the birdseed. Why is there that? And the vomit thing is from my wedding. And it wasn't me. Anyway, that's it for the Nifty Nerd News and Info brought to you guys by me, Bry-Fy, your comics guy, because we don't have sponsors. We just have me. I'm the sponsor of the show. I pay for everything. So I'm going to promote myself. Whew, ran out of breath there. Sorry, my lungs aren't the same after COVID. But yeah, let's talk about some Amazing Spider-Man. If you want to tune out now, I understand. It's fine. But please check me out on all my social media, all my Instagrams and Twitters and Snapchat and YouTube and where else am I? Twitch. Oh, big thing, Twitch. Everything can be found at Small Town Nerdcast. That's SMALL Town TOWN Nerd. Think about it. NERDCAST. Except for Twitter. Twitter's the only one that is just SM Town Nerdcast because apparently small was too big to fit into Twitter, and I am not paying for that blue check mark. Fuck you, Elon Musk. Anywho. Oh yeah, and then twitch.tv/Small Town Nerdcast all spelled out. And that's everything. And I forgot to record this episode like I tried to. I did a live stream last week with the episode. This week, not so much. So there's no guests to comment while I am talking, which makes me kind of sad. But anywho, let's talk about the Amazing Spider-Man, Nick Spencer's run, which started in 2018. The stories that we're talking about now take place in 2020. Issues 44 through 49, titled Sins Rising. Very interesting stuff, man. So a vigilante or like a villain from Peter's past has returned, and his name, the Sin Eater, and he's rising because he was dead. And now we have catchy names for the things that are happening. Anywho, he's got a magic shotgun, and he's about to, shoot people. Or in his case, he shoots people, and it doesn't really kill them. It unalives their sins or evils, but like leaves the people okay. So now they're good people. So yeah, kind of like a good thing, right? Except, it's still shotgun blast to the face, neck, and chest, like wherever he's shooting these people, and they leave wounds. Like, so it's a horrific experience. And then then they just heal up and they're all better now. But still horrifying to do in front of people. Except when he does do it in front of people, they're all cheering. Like, Sin Eater is this great hero who is turning villains back into good guys, and like, this is awesome. But like, why is he doing this? Who's pulling his strings? The answer, oops, sorry, I hit my mic again. It's Kindred, this guy that we've kind of been revealing this whole time through, like, hell, maybe even issue 1. I can't remember how soon he was introduced in this storyline, but he's been there in the shadows working on things. And finally, he's about to bring himself in front of Peter Parker. And Sin Eater is like the last step of all this. So Sin Eater, because of this power and this following, he's now creating like an army who all like love his like less than lethal, super violent, shoddy face shotgun ways. I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy. It's basically like QAnon alt-right type shit. It's terrifying. So Peter's playing catch up, trying to like solve what Sin Eater's end game is, because he still doesn't really know what's happening. He just knows what he's doing. And it turns out that his end game is taking down the Green Goblin, which is something Peter could never do, and which is like one of Peter's, based on this, greatest sins, not being able to take care of these villains and let them live to do horrible things another day. Which, I mean, when you think about it, yeah, he's got a point. So like, how mad can you really be, right? But shotguns. So, and like the people who are following him don't have his same powers. So they're just literally beating up people in the streets. And so it gets pretty crazy and pretty terrifying. So, I know another thing, when Sin Eater shoots these people, he gains their superpowers. Like, he gains their evil powers by shooting them. So it's like this awesome, like, Giga Drain shotgun that gives him enhanced abilities, which is terrifying. And now he's got super huge abilities after he shot fucking Juggernaut in the face. And so now he's got the powers of Juggernaut and a whole bunch of other supervillains. And Spider-Man is running out of time. Like, he cannot stop this dude, except he needs the help of one person. And there's only one person available that can really help him. And it's someone who we never thought he would ever team up with, ever, because of the horrible things that they've done to each other, and that's the Green Goblin. Nani? But yeah, so Green Goblin, Spider-Man team up to take on Sin Eater. And so now odds overcome. Goblin is his enemy again because they defeated Sin Eater, or like incapacitated Sin Eater. So Goblin turns on Peter Parker because, of course, he's the Green Goblin. What the fuck is he gonna do, man? Norman Osborn, awful guy. And then Spider-Man pissed the fuck off. Like, he's pissed off AF, guys. So he fucking throws Goblin out like the back of a moving vehicle because he's like, man, F you. Goblin gets up, turns around, turns out Sin Eater's right behind him, and then kablam! Takes a fucking shotty to the face. And that was Kindred's plan all along, because now Norman Osborn no longer has the sins and the evils of the Green Goblin. He's just back to being Norman Osborn, which, well, great for him, still kind of sucks, because guess what? No one has forgotten your past sins and evils that you've done, so everyone still fucking hates you, because you're still Norman Osborn, and everyone knows Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. But that moves us from the Sins Rising storyline and into the Last Remain storyline, which I feel this is what we've been getting to. Like, this is the this is the thing. This is the be-all story where Spider-Man has to literally take on his inner demon. And so this is some crazy shit, man. So now Norman's gone. The Spidey Six, who is like Miles Morales, Silk, Ghost Spider, Madam Web, and then there's another, Jessica, what is her name? Jessica Drew? I can't remember. Spider-Woman. And then Peter Parker. They're all there. No, there's like another Spider-Man. Actually, Spider-Woman. There's like a third one that I can't think of right now. Or fourth one. Anyway, Anya. That's her name. Anya, I believe is her name. Anyway, we're going to call them the Spidey Six because there's just a whole bunch of them. Because, you know, like the Sinister Six. And that's like, you know, one of Spider-Man's villain teams and so I was trying to be funny. Anywho, So now, new villain pops up, and it's demons, and the worst kind of demons, the body possessing kind of demons, and things go horribly. So they possess the Spidey Six. Pete's got to have like this knockout, drawn out fight with him, but like no way he can beat him. There's like no way that he can get out of this. There's no way he can go home, leading into who you're going to talk to. Doctor Strange. Yeah, I tried to pull that in somehow. Like they truly go the no way home route with this. And it goes to Doctor Strange to be like, yo, man, I'm fighting demons and the mystic shit. I need your help. But really, I don't really want your help. I just want an item that you have, and I'm going to do it myself because that's my responsibility as Spider-Man. It is to just ignore all help and things that would actually make my life easier and just try to do it myself. So me and Black Cat are going to trick you, and then we're going to run off with the hand of Ashanti to go into my little demon astral plane infested, or my astral plane demon infested world to try to take care of things. And yeah, it's going to go about as well as you think. So Norman, with his new sin-free, goblin-free conscience, knows Kindred's true identity. And actually, he's known Kindred's true identity. He figured it out. We actually get a tease of it back in Absolute Carnage, which I brought up. And is that he believed that Kindred was someone within his family tree. And it's true. It is Harry Osborn is actually Kindred. Which kind of confused me because is he dead and come back to life? Is he somehow found demon powers? And is this all a trick? Like, but no, it's real demons. So I don't know what Harry's been up to, but he got demons, man. So, anyway, sorry, I lost where I was in my notes. So it's a race to save both Harry and Pete. Like Norman's got to like figure out a way because it's his son. Like even though he's a bad person, it's his son. He still really respects and loves Peter because, you know, he's trying to be a good guy. And like he knows that he's been evil in the past. So like this is his way to make amends. And there's only one person. There's only one redheaded love interest that's up for this job. And that's MJ, because it wouldn't be a Spider-Man story unless MJ was involved. Because, you know, girl's got to be there. There's got to be someone that might die. Although it's never going to be MJ. But then I guess people thought about that about Gwen Stacy. And we all know how that worked out. And that's actually played up in here too. Anyway, so Pete's going to take on Kindred with his own astral world. Within his own astral world, Kindred wants Pete to confess to his sins. You know, Harry wants Pete to confess to his sins. But like, you know, like an angry spouse doesn't really tell him what he did wrong. It's like, you know what you did. You need to apologize for it. You're a horrible person. These are your sins and you're awful. Well, okay, well, tell me what I did and I'll apologize and I'll make it right. You should know. God damn it. We're in this place because I don't know. So like, help me out here. Help me to help you. Help me to help you. And so, while this is all going on, Doctor Strange and the Spidey Six, enter the astral plane to try to save Peter as well. And MJ is with Team Goblin now, plus Kingpin. So yeah, Norman teams up with Kingpin. MJ doesn't know this though, and they're going to try to save Harry, or well, try to stop Harry, save him, and save Pete. And also, you know, Spidey Six is in there, so we got to figure out what to do with it. I guess they're called the Order of the Web, is their real team name. But I like the Spidey Six anyway. Or like the Jackson Five. Spidey Five. Why did I say Jackson? Oh, because I like the Jackson. Anywho, getting way out of there. Oh, and also Sin Eater invited himself to the party with Morlun powers. If you don't remember Morlun, he came from the Spider-Verse storyline, and him and his family trying to devour all the spider powers and things like that. Mostly he's inconsequential. Like he shows up just to kind of like fuck up shit, but then like goes away. Oh no, I remember what happens. He attacks the Spidey Six. He ends up attacking Madam Web, and when he like brings in some of her, sucks in her powers, he's shown who his master truly is, the guy who's been following this whole time, and who Kindred truly is, and what his desires are and everything. And Sin Eater is truly destroyed and so upset and just can't believe what he's done in the name of Harry Osborn. So he pretty much offs himself with his own less than lethal shotgun straight to the face. So yeah, we're not dealing with that anymore. So that was pretty inconsequential. Like no one gets really hurt. Madam Web is fine. Cool, man. But then all the spiders fall into Harry's trap and Harry and Peter's trap, so everything sucks. But then, of course, MJ shows up to save the day, stall the goblin, or no, not the goblin, stall Kindred, so that the Green Goblin can show up to really, spank that ass, because that's what you do with a bad child. You whoop them. And then it ends. And we're like, what the fuck? Why does it end? And then you don't find out until like the next issue, which is like the very last issue, that explains everything. And I was like, oh, so we captured Kindred with Kingpin's slave villain called the Spot, who has like dark force powers, and we trapped Harry. Or well, he doesn't. Kingpin doesn't know this is Harry. Kingpin just knows him as Kindred. The only people who know it's Harry is MJ, Peter, and Norman. Oh, and Harry's wife knows it's him. Or maybe she doesn't know it's him. She just knows he's up to no good. I think that's what it is. Anywho, he gets trapped with the dark force powers, and he's now in this dark force box where he can't move. He can speak and be heard, but he's choosing not to speak, I guess, because he's a pouty little child, and he's upset that he got caught doing bad things. Of course, Peter Parker is not all convinced that Norman Osborn is free of his sins anymore and is evil. So there's a lot of bad blood there. But hey, MJ's fine. The Spidey 6 are great. Sin Eater, I'm sure he's going to be fine. Overdrive, who kind of kicked off this whole thing that got Peter involved, he wants to date Carly Cooper now, so that's great. Peter's roommate is dating the Beetle, who's another villain. So, the villains are trying to like be better and have relationships and stuff. Boomerang is somewhere. He wasn't part of this storyline, which made me kind of sad because, and let's face it, like I've mentioned before, Nick Spincer has written the Superior Foes of Spider-Man, which was one of my favorite books coming out of when I used to read physical comics. And the way he wrote the Sinister Six with Boomerang, Overdrive, Shocker, Beetle, and there was only 5 of them. Speedster. Yeah, there was only 5, but they still called themselves the Sinister Six, which was really funny, by the way. And just the way he wrote that story, wrote these characters as being pretty much complete assholes, but assholes with heart. And I loved every minute of it. I enjoyed Overdrive in this. I enjoyed the hell out of Boomerang, and like his Norman Osborn, and I feel for Norman in this. I don't want to, because I want to agree with Spider-Man, because there's a lot of bad blood between these two. There's a lot of things, and it's hard. But it appears that Norman is really trying. Norman is really trying to do the right thing now and trying to be better. He accepts that he was a horrible person. He accepts that he still has ties to a lot of horrible people, but he's going to use those ties to help him accomplish something to help his son. He's going to try to save Harry, which I commend him for. I think that's a really good thing and a really heartfelt thing to do. As a father, you want to do right by your kids, and you want to try to help your kids when they have strayed off whatever path you believe they need to be on, whether that's good or bad. But, like if I was a good, like, I'm not saying I'm a Norman Osborn by no sense, but if I was, like, if I saw my son doing something that I thought was very inappropriate or evil or terrible, I would do everything in my power to try to help this kid, because I want to save him from himself. And I think that's what Norman Osborn wants to do here. But it's hard to trust him because he's still Norman Osborn. He still has those same aspirations. And while he might not have the Goblin serum I don't even know if he has the Goblin serum in him anymore. But he definitely doesn't have the evil impulses currently. But that could all change in a heartbeat. Like, we know Norman Osborn. We've known the lies that he's told and done before. So what does this mean going forward? You can definitely see Peter Parker is strained in this story and trying to deal with the after effects of it. And that's not even the end of the run. There's still more comics coming out, which kind of like takes away, like, because I felt like this was like a great like a series end to this story, man. It was not as good as Goblin Nation from Superior Spider-Man, which I feel like is one of my favorite endings of any series or like anything like that. But man, this was pretty damn good. All the things that have been planted, all the little breadcrumbs and the seeds that were planted in the first 43 issues finally come to like fruition and in a big way. There's a lot of people involved without getting like Marvel main event involved. And it was fantastic. I actually enjoyed this a lot. And compared to a lot of the rest of the run, this was definitely a high point for me. And almost, I won't say it quite does, but it almost makes up for the rest of the run. Like the Kraven the Hunter story is pretty good, but there's just a lot of build up and filler and things I don't really care too much about, other than some side stories. But I don't care much about what's happening with Peter and the Amazing Spider-Man. Like there's nothing big for me that's going on in this series as a whole, until you get to this storyline where, in a way, Peter he definitely has to relive the past sins and losses that he's had. Hell, Kindred literally digs up bodies of the people that have died as a result of the things that Peter Parker believes in. You know, like they have died because Peter Parker chooses to do the right thing, and villains in his life have punished the people in his life for that. You know, like Goblin killed Gwen and things like that, and like, oh, so like, I mean, it wasn't like Peter Parker directly punched a hole in these people or killed them, but his actions and his responsibility to save and be a hero has had consequences on people in his circle, people in his life, whether they were innocent bystanders, other heroes, or other villains. Like the Gibbon, he dies in the Kraven the Hunter story, in the Hunted storyline. And that was someone who wanted to be like Spider-Man when things just went wrong, and he chose a life of villainy and then was trying to get out of it, and then wanted to team up with Spider-Man again, but chose a different route and ended up dying because of that result. But, you know, Spider-Man was still a part of it, I guess. I feel like that's kind of what Kindred was getting at. Like, hey, these people who just kind of grazed by you, like butterfly wings in your area, you're the reason that they died. If they would have never seen you, they would have never died. I don't know. It's some kind of crazy shit. Overall, pretty good story, though, man. I dug the artwork from it. Really enjoyed it. If I had to give it a rating, man, and like I said, my rating system, go by like, it's either positive, a neutral, or a negative. And this is definitely a positive charge book, man. Just issues 44 through 57. Those are definitely a huge positive for me. I think everything else of the series so far has been mostly neutral with some positive points in it, but nothing ever negative. Like while reading Nick Spencer's run, I've never just been like, wow, this was a waste of time type thing. It just never felt grand, or never felt like we were built. I mean, like there was like a really slow build to all this, but like everything in between never really felt like it was going anywhere much until like you would get these little breadcrumbs that was like, hey, big story's coming. You better stick around because we're going to throw in more breadcrumbs. We're going to get this big story. And then comes like this awesome story about Harry Osborn coming back from who knows where. I thought he was dead for some reason. I guess he's not. I guess he was trying to live a good life, and then something changed and he became this weird magic demon powered mummified bug guy. I don't know. It's terrifying, actually. This is probably the scariest motherfucker I've ever seen as far as comics go. But that's it for the story, guys. That's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some interest, man. So if you got the Marvel Unlimited app and you've been looking for a Spider-Man story to read, check out Sins Rising and Last Remains from Nick Spencer's 2018 Amazing Spider-Man run. You might actually enjoy it. I know I enjoyed that, and I'm still curious to see what happens, because this isn't the end of Nick Spencer's run. So I'm trying to catch up to the Amazing Spider-Man. So I've been reading Amazing Spider-Man. I think I'm on issue 60 now, and I can't tell you what's going on. Like, not because it's a secret, but because I don't remember. So it's pretty bad. Not that the story's bad, but like it's just not capturing me right now. So anyway, that's it for this week's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bry-Fy out.